Sometimes what seems to be the end of everything is just the beginning of something more true. And even when silence feels heavy, there's a subtle melody that still vibrates inside. That melody doesn't shout. It whispers. And perhaps that's why it's so easy to ignore. But it's there. It always has been, waiting for us to stop, listen, and maybe, just maybe, understand. Because there's a truth that cannot be spoken aloud, but can be felt deep in the chest, like a gentle warmth, a presence that comforts without touching. When everything collapsed, there was no uproar, no announcement, no warning, just emptiness, that space between one breath and the next, where the world seemed suspended. It was in that place that something inside me began to move. Slowly, unhurriedly, almost like a falling leaf. And there, in the middle of nothing, I realized I was still here. There was still something in me that insisted on living. It wasn't strength, it wasn't courage. It was just a spark, almost nothing, but it was something, and at that moment, that was enough. Many believe we are defined by our achievements, titles, or the security we build around us. But what if all of that disappears? What remains? This question is not comfortable, but it is necessary. And it was in poverty, not just material, but emotional, spiritual, that I found an answer I would never have sought on my own. When the layer of pride falls away, only the essential remains. And in that essential, I found something I didn't know I was looking for, myself. When I lost what I thought was my stability, I went through a day of mourning, not a loud mourning, but a silent one. I grieved what I had lost as if it were part of me. The next day, however, there was a moment of clarity that I still carry with me. It was as if, without all of that, I could finally see who I was, see what truly mattered, realize that there is a difference between living and merely existing. Schopenhauer said that life is a pendulum between pain and boredom, and still, there's beauty in that movement. The pain I felt wasn't punishment. It was an invitation, an opening. I began to see that nothing belonged to me, and maybe because of that, I was freer than ever, because the less we have, the lighter the journey becomes. The philosopher seemed harsh in his view of the world, but behind the rigidity of his words was a calm acceptance. That pain is part of it, and it doesn't have to destroy us. Animals help me understand that. I don't own any, but they find me. Dogs and cats, especially. They approach in silence, with eyes that listen. They demand nothing. They simply offer presence. They are masters of the now. With them, I learned that the present, the moment slipping through our fingers, is all there is, and that we don't need much to feel whole. There's wisdom in a paw gently resting on a leg, in a purr that soothes more than 1,000 words. There's something deeply therapeutic in the way they simply are. I decided to simplify, not as a statement or lifestyle to be displayed, but as a gesture of respect for what is essential. I kept only what served me. Things that warm, that protect, that sustain. I traded coins for favors, money for kindness. I discovered that when you live with less, the heart finds more space for what truly matters. And that's when I understood that simplicity is not absence, but presence. A plate of rice with garlic can be a feast if there's peace at the table. There is no rush on this path. The answers don't come with a snap, but in gentle waves. Sometimes they come while brewing tea, in the soil between your fingers while gardening, or in an unexpected hug. Each moment has something to say, if we're willing to listen. And sometimes silence also speaks. With it, I learned that calm is not the absence of movement, but the harmony between what is felt and what is lived. If you've come this far, take a deep breath. Feel this moment. If this video is touching something within you, consider subscribing to the channel and liking it. This helps us continue creating spaces of calm, reflection, and comfort. I return to Schopenhauer's idea because there is something freeing in accepting that life swings. When we stop fighting the waves, we begin to float with them. It's not about resignation, but acceptance. There's a serenity that is born when we understand that not all pain needs to be resolved now. Some just ask for company. And company can be your own breath, the sound of leaves in the wind, or the silence shared with someone who understands without explanation. Some say patience is passivity, but sometimes it's the greatest act of courage, waiting without losing faith, breathing even when the air feels scarce. There's relief in that surrender, a kind of invisible embrace that supports us when the world outside feels too far away. Each sunrise is a promise that we are still here. And as long as we are here, there are possibilities. Life has taught me that everything passes, even the urge to give up, and that in the midst of the darkest night, there can be a candle lit, even a small one, and that is enough. Sometimes that is all we need, a persistent flame, a kind word, a silence that comforts. That's what keeps me going. That flame may go out on the outside, but inside it still flickers. And when it finds the right wind again, it lights back up. I began to value the little things. A sincere smile, a simple meal, a conversation where no one needs to pretend. I realize I don't need to be right all the time, nor strong, nor whole. I just need to be present, human, imperfect, and yet enough. And that changes everything, because the pursuit of perfection exhausts us, but acceptance reconciles us. Tending the earth, planting something, watching it grow. These are gestures that teach me about time and trust. Nothing blooms out of obligation. Everything sprouts when the time is right. So are we. Sometimes all we can do is water with patience and wait. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is dignity in waiting. There is beauty in the invisible process. There are days when I feel part of something greater, an invisible web of people who, even without knowing each other, are connected by the will to live truthfully. Ubuntu, they say in South Africa. I am because we are. That's it. No one walks alone for long. And even when it seems we are alone, there's always someone thinking of us, silently rooting for us. I've slept in different beds, been welcomed by strangers who became friends. I discover the world can be kind when we're open to seeing it. That help doesn't always come in grand gestures. Sometimes it's a look, a silent act, a safe space. And in these small refuges, we catch our breath again, because kindness is still a form of resistance. I lived not knowing where I'd be the next month, but I was never truly lost. There's something that guides us when we listen with the heart, an inner compass, perhaps, or just life saying, keep going. That's enough. And that enough can be everything, because continuing is often the most sacred act we have. There is strength in not knowing everything, in not having all the answers, in accepting that some pains won't go away, but will transform into something that shapes us. And that's okay. Because happiness is not the absence of pain, but the presence of meaning, of connection, of love. And that is enough. Perhaps, in the end, it all comes down to this, to love and be loved, even if in quiet ways. An animal lying nearby, a message arriving at the right time, a silence shared. Small miracles that go unnoticed when we rush too much. But when we pause, we can see them and thank them. If you feel like you need time, take it. If everything feels like too much, breathe. You're not alone. And even if the storm continues, there's always a place within us where the sky is still clear. If this video brought some peace to your day, share with someone. Subscribe to the channel so we can continue together on this journey of calm, presence, and meaning. And if you can, watch the other videos. Each one is an invitation to return to yourself and to what really matters.